I want to begin by introducing Corey Pendergraft, who is the Director of Information Technology at the Lake County Sheriff's Department, and he can give a little bit more about his information. But he is an alum of the college, so this is a great opportunity to hear his journey from when he started getting his AA here at Lake-Sumter. The major he chose and transferred to University of Central Florida, which I think is unique. You don't hear many people going into the IT field with a technical communications degree. And then he has worked at Lake County Sheriff Department, which is kind of law enforcement, for a while, for 13 years, right, Corey?
Yes. Yep.
So I'm just going to leave it to him. And students, please, as you, if you have questions, please just let us know. And you can unmute yourself or put it in the chat, and I'll make sure that he sees it. But I'm going to turn it over to Corey.
Hi, my name is Corey Pendergraft. As was mentioned, I'm the IT director for the Sheriff's Office here in Lake County. I started out there as a dispatcher at 19 years old. And then soon after that, I within a couple of years, I was offered the opportunity for an entry-level position in the IT department. And that's when I actually started pursuing my education beyond high school at that point. So that led me to Lake-Sumter, started on my path there, switched over. I originally started for the AS and IT. And then when I realized that some of those didn't quite transfer into UCF, I just decided to go ahead with the general AA, so it would make an easier transition over to UCF, which I did. Once I started there and commuting to UCF and dealing with the traffic here from Lake County, still working full time, starting a family, I realized that I needed a alternative degree that I could do online, which led me to technical communications, which still kind of did with IT related things, but obviously it's an English degree. And then during that time pursuing my degree, I was promoted through IT from computer specialist to network tech. And then I kind of stepped out of IT for a year and did digital media when that was a need for the agency. So I ran the agency's social media, graphic design and video production for a year, until a position opened back up in IT for director, which I ended up back into the department after that. So it was quite a journey to get where I'm currently at now, but it was well worth it. It took time. I'm still pursuing my degree. I'm currently in the midst of an MBA for IT management, so I will have an IT degree once I am done. But the requirements for my position was a bachelor's degree, and it didn't specify that it had to be IT related. Obviously, I had the internal experience from being within the agency and in the department for that long, but I was pretty much a shoo-in, being the only qualified candidate with a bachelor's degree. So that's basically my journey from Lake-Sumter to now, 13 years into my career, and about 9 of them in IT at this point. You're muted.
Here I was thinking I unmuted. What kind of skills did you, I guess, pick up while you were working and getting your degree that made you qualified? So the students now going through specific IT programs would hope to get, and maybe opportunities for them to start gaining experience.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate that they gave me the opportunity with no experience to come in there and learn, but I'm a hands-on learner, and afforded that opportunity has been huge for me, and was huge for me in getting the skills and making myself stand out from the rest of the department. And we've had interns actually come from Lake-Sumter and work as a paid internship on a part-time basis. And we have one of them currently as a tier 2 support person now, as a network tech within our department. So, I mean, if you can, get your foot in the door by any means necessary wherever you think you may want to work. It may not be the position that you want in the long run, but at least you get your foot in the door. Just like I didn't want to be a dispatcher for 30 years and retire as a dispatcher, but that's what was available, and that's how I got my foot in the door. But certifications are important too. That's taken a front, and security is a big field right now that is a priority for all agencies. We've adjusted ours to where we have a security administrator now, and some unders underneath that are, dabble in there. But just to be kind of the jack of as many trades as you can, I think is beneficial. If you like networking, you like security, you like web design, we have a programmer there that does all of our web apps. So, I mean, that's just within our agency, and we're a relatively small agency. And when you step out I've communicated with the director of IT at the school board. Their IT department's 65 people. The county also has 40 or so in their IT department just for the county. And that's not including all the other agencies throughout just Lake County. But obviously what appealed to me was the benefits, the retirement, and those types of things. So, and if you stick with it, it does pay off in the long run. So.
Do you feel like the technical writing gave you an edge in IT, or was it more you needed a bachelor's degree and it was of interest to you?
No, I think it definitely did help me, because we do a lot of documentation in IT, a ton. So whether that's troubleshooting for documents for our users to be able to kind of self-help themselves, or within the IT department on, we all we know how to do things, but not all of us know how to do everything. So documentation is key. And that was one of my first assignments as in IT, was to create documentation as a documentation library. Having the technical communications background was helpful, obviously English degree. So I could articulate my words a certain way and make sure that they were easy to follow, easy to read. So I think that definitely plays in. And I mean, we have a couple others in IT now that their bachelor's degree is not IT. And as the person who makes the decision on who comes into the department, I actually prefer different backgrounds to get in IT, just so we have different perspectives, different life lessons, different educational backgrounds. And it just produces a more well-rounded team, in my opinion. And we've had in my 9 years in IT, we definitely have the most cohesive unit that we've had since I've been in there.
If I could ask a question, Corey, what do you think is the most rewarding part of your current position?
Right now, I mean, we don't deal with the public directly. But we help support all of the people that do. So, the deputies are out there interacting with the public. The dispatchers are the ones on the phone. So we're kind of in the background. Everybody thinks we sit in a cave and we just, don't really communicate, and, we always are watching everyone, but that's not the case. I think that's probably the most rewarding part for me, is just knowing that, we're doing a service to Lake County residents. And those are the people that pay our paychecks and then pay us. So it's tax dollars that are used so we do our best to, provide them the best level of service, which in turn will give them faster response times, or, better equipped deputies, those types of things.
When do you start coding?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
When do you start coding? Like programming?
When did you start programming or coding?
I do not program or code. That is not me. I did have to do it as part of I took a ton of IT classes at the beginning because I was doing my AS in IT, and I still did some at UCF because my initial degree that I transferred to was the IT degree there. But coding was not my field that I wanted to pursue further. Actually, interestingly enough, we have currently our programmer. It was a calculus and high school calculus and math teacher for Lake Minneola High School, and he decided to have a career change. And so that's one of the examples that we brought somebody in with a teaching degree and some knowledge of coding, and obviously a very good mindset for math, which is helpful for programming and coding and everything else. So he does that now. He's been here a little over a year, and he's excelled beyond all of our expectations. So that's been a huge asset to our agency.
Lamb, is that your interest is in coding and programming?
Uh, yes, sort of. I like artificial intelligence. I actually doing that right now. I mean, not like create it, but like have fun with that.
Yeah, we don't do too much in the AI field right now, but we are leveraging some software from other companies that you'd be surprised at what kind of AI can be used for various things. So we're in the process of implementing some things for that, but nothing's particular to that within our department.
So
Do you hire part-time job? I guess. Do you hire part-time employee?
Do we hire part-time? That's typically if something comes along and we have the funds to do so. Obviously, part-time employees don't receive the benefits that full-time employees do, so it's just an hourly wage. So, I mean, if that's something of interest to you, I'm sure that they can give you my contact information afterwards, and you can definitely send an email.
I actually want to work to have like experience, so I can put in my resume.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really need money. I mean, I need money, but like I want to work for experience.
Right. So you just want to gain the experience, and
Yeah.
like I said, we run a one programmer web design person.
Yeah,
that
I
does
can do that.
everything. So anybody that offers or would like to offer assistance in that, obviously there's just a background process you have to go through the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
But once you're through that, then that wouldn't be a problem. So I mean, like I said, they can definitely share my work email and contact information. And once we get back in the office and not working remote, that would probably something we could do.
Sure.
Do your people ever come in, from these various backgrounds that maybe have done Code Academy or Coursera classes? How do you really feel about those?
So what we do in IT, when I first took over director, I used what is now LinkedIn Learning, but previously it was Lynda, Lynda. That's where I learned some of the skills that I have, either graphic design related or IT related, whatever, what have you. So when I came in, I got licensing for the department to utilize Lynda as a learning platform. And sorry, that's my work phone. So. And so we got that as a learning platform, and then we kind of got to the point where that wasn't enough. There wasn't enough new stuff that was coming out, or new versions of the software, new operating systems, all that. So we actually switched to a company. It's called Cbt Nuggets. It's primarily IT related learning. It's a little pricier, but we felt it offered exam prep for cert preps, practice tests, the latest technology. It offered us flexibility to save videos offline and use our tablets and phones and kind of do that. So I offer that to whoever wants to participate in that in the IT department. We pay for that licensing to further their education and keep up with the latest technology and trends.
So you mentioned a programmer. Who else do you have on your team? What are some of their roles that they do?
So we have our department now consists of 11 people. We just hired an extra person, and it was 10 including myself. Now it's 11. One of our computer specialists has broken off into our Special Investigations Bureau to handle covert camera operations, phone extractions for evidence, for all those types of things. So that person is out doing that now versus a computer specialist. So we're in the process of getting that job description and job title changed to be more accurately representative of his new position. We have 2 women in the department, which we had not had before I was there. So that was something that I kind of wanted a little bit of diversity in there. So we have one that was actually employed at our vehicle shop. She did all of the basically administrative tasks there. She was there for 12 years and she started pursuing her degree later in life, got an AS in IT, and she's starting to get some, she just has her PMP certificate. So she's working towards, furthering her education there. So we brought her into IT about 1.5 years ago. Since I've taken over, we've had a couple people leave for various reasons, some monetarily, rightfully so. But, we've hired 4 or 5 new people in there. We have another one that has a bachelor's degree from UCF and is now pursuing. She was not able to get into the digital forensics master's program at UCF because she had no quote unquote experience or professional experience. So we brought her into IT. She's been here about 1 year and she just got accepted into that master's program at UCF. So she's pursuing her digital forensics degree. Like I said, we have the math teacher, that's our programmer. And we have a couple long tenured employees that are 10 plus years like myself there. We have one that's been there 17 years. And we have a security administrator who has a Security Plus certificate degree, or a Security Plus certificate, and I think he just has an AA degree, so he doesn't have his bachelor's degree yet. And I have my other network administrator that we promoted within the agency pursuing his bachelor's degree right now too. So kind of giving these people the opportunity to give them the opportunity before maybe they have exactly what they need, kind of pushes them in the direction of, pursuing and continuing their education, no matter how old they are. I mean, he has a family, a lot of kids like myself, and, he has a lot of other things going on, but if you can put your mind over matter, you can get it done. So.
So we have a question. How you do graphic design or digital media in regards to IT? I think that's
so. That was actually, I actually left the IT department to do that. So when Sheriff Grinnell was elected into office, I actually made a business plan to create a digital media manager position because he wanted to focus on social media reach, doing stuff like that and getting more in the public eye. Previous Sheriff Borders wasn't so inclined to worry about social media as much, and Sheriff Grinnell wanted that. It's a large platform, as we all know. So he wanted to, expound on that. So I presented that to him, and he offered me a position to start that. So we created a studio, 4K cameras, lights, soundproofing, blue screen, because we can't have a green screen because we all wear green. So I helped implement that, and then about 1 year into that is when the IT position opened, and that's ultimately what my goal was when I was in IT, was to pursue that. But we still have people in IT. One of our network tech that actually came from Lake-Sumter, he is a photographer in his downtime. So the sheriff's office is a place that we kind of figure out your strengths and what else you're good at, and we kind of use those. So everybody kind of does a little bit of everything. So I still help out with the graphic design portion, social media management, and we have various softwares that we are still responsible for in IT that they use for social media and everything. So really the graphic design doesn't fall under me yet, or maybe in the future it might, but that's technically under our community engagement unit, which is more or less the CP, the cops unit, the citizens on patrol, more of the people that you see out doing the events that we host, like the Fish and Fun Day. And then I'm also on the board for some of the charity events that we have too for the Lake County Sheriff's Charities. So we do a lot of things. So if you have other skills, it only helps improve your stance there. Not to there's a lot of if you know a lot of things, then you make yourself irreplaceable, in my opinion. So. Requirements for part-time employee. I see that question coming up. There's no real requirements other than you have to be able to pass a FBI background check, fingerprinting done. So all that's done through our HR department. There's drug screening, all those things. So I mean, technically, you could go under lcso.org, and there's we have an application on there, and you could just say, hey, I want to intern. Even if it's unpaid intern, your chances are very high to get picked for that. If it's paid, we have to go through a small approval process. But so that's something that you can do if you want to do part-time or an internship to get some stuff under your resume.
So far, we've had a lot of great questions. Anybody else have a question? If not, I'll ask mine. So with mostly, are you just sort of IT support for the employees there at the office, or is it building, I don't know, just sort of infrastructure or platforms or systems? Like, what exactly, as a sheriff's office, is IT mostly used for?
Yeah, so our sheriff's office, we directly support our employees, which are roughly 750, 770 on a good day. So we directly support those, but we indirectly support almost every agency in this, and almost every law enforcement agency in the county. We have our CAD system, our computer-aided dispatch, and our records management system software. We share our system with every agency in this county with the exception of Leesburg PD and Eustis PD right now. So they're all technically on our system for that purpose. So we obviously support the software for them and the support for them. They have their dedicated administrators at each respective agency, but we still host. We also support the state attorney's office for various needs that they have. They have to get into some of the case reports that we offer, so we help support them. We have countless substations throughout the county. The mall, we have the South District office, we have our jail, which is right there next to us, the courthouse, the Emergency Communications and Operations Center, which is shared with EMS dispatch. So we have a wide reach. We help support, and obviously we're working with the school board now with implementing a new camera sharing platform with them so we can better utilize if there's an emergency at a school, we can access the cameras at the schools for any incidents that come up. So, I mean, we work in the county. We don't have a GIS person for mapping, for geographical information systems, for mapping for our software. So we work hand in hand with the county. They supply those files for us and any updates for our zones and all that, and new addresses that come up. We do regular monthly updates. So, I mean, we work with almost every law enforcement or non-law enforcement agency in the county. And it's not just our department that does that. Several other departments are utilized by other agencies too on an as-needed basis. So.
And then a follow-up question is that we're actually starting to see a little bit more due to the pandemic. Do you feel the IT career field is one of those fields that I guess you're still able to perform and not have to worry as much about being furloughed or let go due to the pandemic, or the nature of the job and being able to work at home, or how has it impacted, I guess, this career field?
Yeah, I mean, we've been working, with the exception of us going back in the office for a few weeks, we've been working remote since the middle of March. We came back in June for about 3 weeks until the second round hit, and we all went back working remote. Doing IT, we pretty much remote in from the office anyways to anybody that has an issue that we can. Obviously, if there's any need that we need to go into the office for, we do now. But as far as an IT field goes, even if the company or agency you're working for, may have to furlough workers or may have to work remote, the IT department's still needed regardless. I know my mother-in-law works for a bank, and the only people going into the office now are IT because they have to help support everybody working remotely. But fortunately for us, law enforcement agencies tend to be needed always. They're not going out of business by any means. I know for some instances back when the economy tanked about a decade ago, I know even the county was furloughing employees, and luckily for law enforcement, that's never been I have not personally seen that in my career. Have never been furloughed or anything like that, which, the public still needs to be safe, and we have to provide a service. So we're all needed. So it's been fortunate. I've definitely, I know that a lot of people in IT, they see dollar signs as far as, your starting pay in the private sector versus a public, agency or law enforcement agency or a county or even a school. But sometimes the benefits and your work-life balance and not commuting to downtown Orlando every day might be beneficial. I know I have 4 kids myself, all 5 and younger, and working less than 40 hours a week, guaranteed. I'm on call all the time, but I don't have to put in 80, 90-hour weeks and have to worry about, balancing my personal life.
Well, we're just about at time. I know there's a question in the chat about how to contact, so we'll definitely have Corey put, is email the best way to reach you?
Yeah, and I'll type it in the chat right now.
Okay. But as we wrap up, does anybody have any last questions for Corey as far as IT, law enforcement, anything else? So we heard a lot about his journey, educational advice, what it's like working for law enforcement, IT field, all great information. So hopefully you use this opportunity to connect with him, which, by the way, I connected with him through LinkedIn. So if you need to come to one of our LinkedIn workshops, I'm just going to put that plug right in there. But as we wrap up, I just want to thank Corey for coming and participating with us. We know we heard your phone go off. We know it's busy for you always. We appreciate you coming and sharing with our students and allowing them to hear about IT. And I know I learned a lot. But again, I think he's put his email in the chat if you're interested in an internship or reaching out and maybe chatting with him individually. Maybe you have additional questions. We encourage you to connect with him. And otherwise, everybody have a great afternoon and the rest of your week. Our next spotlight is next week, and it is business/marketing. Another alum is joining us, and he works for the hospitality industry at Darden Restaurants. So if you're thinking about, and he does more kind of like market research analyst, that kind of field you don't think about. So
Not at the restaurants.
yeah.
That's key.
Versus their corporate office, right? Like not in the restaurant. It is possible to work in hospitality and not be a server or hostess, right? But anyway, thank you, Corey. Thank you for
having me. I
joining
appreciate
us
it.
today. Thank you so much.